city, okay, who usually and they have celebrations in the Chinatown. But otherwise, we have to work on Chinese New Year. We have to work on Chinese New Year's Day.
Japanese New Year.
Which is 1st of January.
Oh, 1st January, okay.
Yeah.
Same as the Gregorian calendar. Okay, all right. Hi, Liu Min Chin. Are you present? Okay, not present. Okay, then never mind. It's 8:30. We let Terence kick off.
Monday. CO2 and good evening, everyone. Welcome to MSBS Weekly Guided Meditation by Phra Goh. Today is the 18th of January 2022. We are very grateful to have with us Bhante Adhibalo, popular known as Phra Goh. Bhante was born on July 14, 1985 and had his Bhikkhu ordination into the Theravada tradition of Thai Dhamma sect at Santi Forest Monastery, Johor in 2008. Bhante is currently the religious advisor to Buddhist Youth Network and has been conducting MSBS Weekly Guided Meditation since 2020. This week, we are continuing on the Blessing Sutta. Bhante will be leading the homage to the Buddha and taking a 5 precepts for Buddhists. Now, let us compose our mind, put our palms together, and welcome Bhante. Over to you, Bhante.
All right, thank you, Terence, for the kind introduction. So, start with 3 bows to the Buddha. Yeah, first bow, second bow, and third bow. So, chant the homage. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. 3 refuges. Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Saṅghāṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dutiyampi Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dutiyampi Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Dutiyampi Saṅghāṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Dhammaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Saṅghāṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. And the 5 precepts. Pāṇātipada Vēramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyāmi. Adinādāna Vēramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyāmi. Kāmesu Micchācārā Vēramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyāmi. Musāvādā Vēramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyāmi. Surameraya Majjapamadatthāna Vēramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyāmi. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, so good evening, everyone. Again, tonight we will be continuing this sutta, called the Mangala Sutta. Now it's the second lesson, so we shall proceed with the content. So the first lesson we just briefly talked about the introduction and the first few points on the wise company, spiritual friends. And so I talked about what are blessings, spiritual friends. Okay, so today we start off with these new pointers, right? So these are the next few kinds of blessings the Buddha mentioned. So living in a civilized country, having made merit in the past, and directing oneself rightly. This is the highest blessing. So living in a peaceful place, very important. So earlier on we talked about the various realms of existence. So these are unseen or supernatural or metaphysical kind of realms. Not everybody can perceive such realms or such conditions of living. So for the most part, we can take the here and now kind of living examples. So if we are living in like a war-torn kind of area, then it's something like hell. Lots of fighting, lots of maybe rioting, crime, or lots of very disastrous, maybe natural disasters going on. So it's like lots of uncertainty, very dangerous. So life always in danger, always in fear. So that is a very unsettling place. So the state of mind, very disturbed. Something like the hell realm. And if we are living in a very peaceful place, very prosperous place, you can get whatever items in abundance. So it's a bit like in the heaven. The state of, if you are comfortable, the state of mind is a bit like in the heaven. Right? So the human realm has this wide range. So again, depending on which place and time, depending on condition, that would very much depend on one's merit, depend on one's karma. So that's why the second point, having made merit in the past. If a person can be reborn in a very peaceful country, a peaceful place, everything is, their support necessities, the necessities or the living essentials are in place, then that is good karma. That is a good karma. So very important. So of course, like in the Buddha's time in India, even though they are very lots of poor below the margin of normal living conditions, they still can practice, they ordain, they still can practice. They require lots of effort. The condition must be right. And vice versa, if a person is too comfortable, too much material wealth. Also, if you don't have the conditions to meet these spiritual friends or spiritual teachings, and one will also just live their life just like that and very empty inside. So that's why earlier on the emphasis is on spiritual friends. Last week's session had this foundation, the aim of our living, the purpose of life is to improve ourselves spiritually. So regardless of physical living conditions, whether you're poor, whether you're rich, at least you have a kind of moral compass. So that is very important. If the life is just seeking wealth and comfort only, then eventually, one day everybody will face this thing called death. So all this security will be gone, all the comfort will be gone, at least for yourself. for oneself, right? Then whatever you've been investing to build up, all gone. Right? So there is a long-term kind of investment. So that is this spirituality. So that is, in Buddhist terms, we call this merit or karma. So aside from past merit, we also talk about investing in future merit. Unless you are very confident you can reach enlightenment in this lifetime, you still need lots of good karma. So in the next life, then it will give you very conducive environment to practice. Right, so this is important. Okay, then the next point will be directing oneself rightly. Right, so very important. If a person is having a very conducive environment, they have spiritual support, then physically they're very safe, then this is the best opportunity to practice. This is the human realm standard. Human realm standard. So this is, you have to count your blessings. Then this is the best time to cultivate. If a person is in too much suffering, very hard to practice. If too much comfort, also may be too hard to practice. Too much enjoyment, all of entertainment, addictions, very, very hard to practice. Very hard to practice detachment. So if you are generally okay materially, physically quite comfortable, still okay, then this is the best opportunity to cultivate. So this is important, directing oneself rightly. Set a goal. Get a moral compass right. This is the highest blessing. So I put a picture in the map on the left, the various indexes of happiest or the unhappiest nations in the world. I think it's very subjective, and it is not the current statistics also. And on the right will be, we talk about balance. Yeah, so if you want to talk about peaceful country, you need to also balance your career, your livelihood, your family, and your spiritual practice. So you need to find this moderation to have this harmony or peace. Okay, next. Okay, then the next few pointers are broad in knowledge, skill, discipline well mastered, words well spoken. This is the highest blessing. Yeah, so it's good to have broad knowledge. Doesn't matter whether one is a monastic or a lay person. If you are a lay person, you even need this more, broad knowledge and skill. Because you need to survive and depend on certain skill for livelihood, or you need certain knowledge to survive, right? And if you want to talk about even in meditation, you need certain knowledge is required. Like for monastics, we need to know maybe a bit of astrology, not to predict our fortune, but more to calculate the calendar, lunar calendar. So in the Buddha's time, there isn't a standardized calendar issued to the monks. They have to look at the stars and know how to calculate the month, the day, the season, and so on. So because if they are wandering alone in the forest, they do not know the day and time, then it will be very troublesome. So that's the ancient days. So nowadays, a lot of things are digitalized. You have electronic, this calendar on your phone, on the laptop, whatever it is. So you can just refer. Right? By the past, you need to know how to look at the stars and calculate the date and time. Okay, and also not just that, but also in meditation. what kind of knowledge you need aside from just Dhamma, which will help you improve meditation. Yeah, there are few mundane criteria. First is your health. Your health, a good digestive system is very important. So it's good to at least know nutrition, know some kind of nutrition, how to take care of yourself, and how to take care of your body, so that if you're not healthy, everything also sick, you sit down here, pain, there pain, maybe a bit hard to practice. A bit hard to practice. Although we talk about pain is impermanent, it's good opportunity for you to see dukkha. Not so easy. So like in our meditation, we have this, we call it a process, the evolution of the maturity of the mind. So the mind first needs certain level of comfort. You need to have this loving kindness first. The mind becomes more embracing before you start to hammer in this impermanence. If you straight away talk about pain and sickness and the mind is not prepared, very hard to practice. And very hard to practice. So for starters, it's good to have this certain knowledge, not just about health. Also, in the previous series, we talked about wealth also, how to save money, how to associate with the right kinds of friends, not to spend in unnecessary vices. Right? So all these are financial kind of knowledge, financial planning, all those are circular knowledge. So broad knowledge is good. So having these broad knowledges, not just in meditation, so good for your livelihood. You need to strike a balance. And for monastics, interestingly, most forest monasteries have like a workshop. So some monks need to know carpentry. They need to know how to saw the wood, make a broom, make furniture. Some of them even build these kutis. These are the little huts the monk will stay. So they need to know some architecture, some engineering. So we have monks of all kinds of various fields of knowledge staying in the community, right? And things like first aid, common things, common knowledge. That's good. So discipline well mastered. So if a person is an expert, not just broad knowledge, jack of all trades, but if you are an expert in a particular field, then you will be well sought after. So this is again not just for layperson, but also for monastics. So I believe you can maybe observe yourself the different monastics. Some of them maybe are very good public speakers. Then they are very well sought after. Or some of them are very good in this area or that area. And within the monastic community, some monks, not all monks, maybe a small handful of monks are these Patimokkha reciters, for example. They memorize the precepts. So during the full and new moon occasions, they will be chosen because they are the only ones who know how to recite these Patimokkha. They are the ones that memorize it. Or some monks, they memorize the Tipitaka, all the 3 baskets of teachings. Or some monks are very good in their theoretical understanding, or some monks are very good in their meditation. So different skill sets. So they are sought after in different areas. So ideally, it's best to be good in everything. But again, that is not easy. So if you can specialize in one skill, so at least you have something worth pursuing, worth carrying on your practice. But ideally, ultimately, one needs to cultivate well. So if a person is lopsided, just specialized in academia, just the theoretical aspect, and they neglect this meditation, so this is not a good sign. So this one, the Buddha also sort of criticized. So a person needs to find this balance. Aside from reading and understanding the theory, one also needs to practice and see for themselves. Okay, so this is various kinds of discipline. Okay, words well spoken. So this one is part of right speech in the Eightfold Path. So in the earlier on, at the beginning of every session, we chant this precept, to refrain from telling lies. So that is just one aspect of right speech. So total there are 4. So aside from this not telling lies, we also try to avoid harsh speech. When we are fierce or we use obscene or vulgar language, we try to avoid those kinds of speech. And the third kind is we avoid this divisive speech or slander, any kind of speech that breaks up communities. We try to avoid that. And the last one, which is avoid this gossiping, idle chatter, frivolous chatter. That means a kind of conversation that go on and on without any purpose, without any goal. Some people can just feel bored and then they just keep talking and talking and talking. So you find it very meaningless. It's a waste of time, not fruitful. If let's say you have a goal in mind, if let's say it's more for ice breaking, getting to know the person, at least you have a goal. So you start a conversation, so you have certain goal in mind. But if let's say there's no goal and just keep talking any topic under the sun, then it's the other party might find it a bit maybe annoying. So you need to find a purpose before you start this conversation. So again, there are several factors when a person speaks. First and foremost, the speech has to be the truth. And that's the first criteria. Second criteria would be, would it be beneficial or not beneficial? There are lots of truth. Like I can tell you, maybe the sun is round or the earth is round, whatever it is. So may not be beneficial depending on context. And if it's not beneficial and it's true, then we should also avoid speaking. And the third criteria would be whether is it acceptable. Whether it's acceptable. Or sometimes you want to bring up, let's say, certain criticism, a constructive criticism. If you find that the other party may be not ready to accept, maybe you should just hold on, hold back, hold on for a while. Maybe next time when the situation is better, then you might bring it up. So again, the 3 criteria, if it is not acceptable, then you don't say it. And the fourth criteria, whether is it pleasant, whether is it affectionate, whether is it kind, whether the words are spoken kindly. So if all the first few pointers, you meet all the first few pointers, it's true, beneficial, and it's acceptable, but the way you present it is very harsh, also not very nice. So you need to improve on the presentation. It needs to be pleasant. And eventually the last one is the intention, whether is it out of goodwill, is it out of loving kindness. So if it is out of good intention, then go ahead. If it is out of ill intention, you out of anger, out of maybe revenge, out of jealousy, out of greed, then even though the first few pointers are fulfilled, then it is just creating, again, unwholesome karma. Yeah, unwholesome karma. So let's say a person is doing sales, a very nice presentation, you're selling the product. It's true, you're very, the product is proven with maybe scientific sort of facts, but if the intention is not correct, then that is also mentally you're creating this unwholesome karma. So although outwardly you may appear very professional, you speak very courteously, and you have this good PR, but mentally, because out of wrong intention, you just want to make more sales, more greed, for example, then purely, out of this greed only, then that is creating unwholesome karma. Yeah, so one needs to try, to fulfill all these criteria. So not easy. So one needs to keep cultivating this intention. That's why the Noble Eightfold Path, one needs to understand what is this right understanding and right thought. Once the mind is in the right place, then the physical action is secondary. But then again, we need to find a moderation. Some people may have very good intention, but if you don't meet the other criteria, the other party not accepting, or the kind of words you speak may seem harsh, or maybe culturally the context may be different, then one may get into conventional trouble also. Yeah, so one needs to find the moderation. So this world is lots of gray areas. So I believe you may have the experience to find the right time to speak or the right expression. So this one requires, we call it life experience. Okay, and so words well spoken, this is the highest blessing. So the picture, we have like a diagram of different kinds of skills. So broad skill is one thing, but if you are specialized, you're very good, you're high up, you're like an expert, then you get a different opportunities, for various kinds of this livelihood. Yeah, so if a person is like, let's say in the left chart, right, analytical skills, right, if you are, let's say, very good, so right at the top in the picture it mentions a person can be a surgeon, right? If if let's say a person is very low, then a person can be like can you see the word? Power driver, power driver operator, something like that. So that's why in most Asian families, they will ask the children, hey, study, study, go and get your degree or your doctorate or your whatever. So the parents will push their children to get a good education. They want their children to do well. So again, sometimes parents also need to be mindful. It's not just this expertise in that discipline, but also encourage them to pick up various skills, because nowadays the economy is very uncertain. Like one COVID come only, then all of industry is gone case. Right? So you need to have a broad knowledge, broad spectrum of skills, so that you can survive. Sometimes people with degrees, jobless. So very important to have this broad knowledge and skill. Okay, so I shall end the sharing for today and open the floor for questions. Anyone has any questions or anyone wants to comment? How about the Zoom comments? Any questions there? I mean the Facebook comment section. All okay, all fulfill the criteria, all very blessed. Okay, if there's no issues, then we go for a break. All right, 5-minute break, and we come back for the guided meditation. Huh? Okay, 5 minutes are up. See when everyone is back. Is Terence here? Oh, okay. All right, so we can, or before we start the session, any questions from anyone? Maybe you went for a toilet break and suddenly, boom, there's a question pop up in your mind. Okay, if no one, then we can start, yeah? So you find a comfortable sitting position. Make sure your back is upright. Okay, and we start off with external physical relaxation. So you need to relax the body, make sure there's no tension. And then we can move to mental relaxation. So mental relaxation is more detachment. So you can start with visualizing the hairs. We wish all the hairs well and happy from head to toe. And every time you conjure a new image in the mind, and you need to repeat the wish, yeah, wish it well and happy. So every thought is intentional, yeah? Every image that appears when you think of a new patch of hair, when you move on to a new area, then you need to wish it well and happy again. Right now, supposedly those who are attending this session should be quite blessed. No disaster to worry. So sometimes the mind can be too complacent. So when you sit and meditate, everything is going to be all right. So we have to put in a little bit of sense of urgency. So the Buddha sometimes always will mention every contact, every thought that is actually Mara's trap. Every contact is danger. So one needs to be very, very heedful. Every contact we experience, every stimuli, we need to apply this right thought and deflect this attack. And once the mind is relatively calmed down through right effort, so calmness have different degrees. Yeah? So So we are not talking about the calmness through sleeping. We are talking about calmness through intentional wishing of loving kindness. So these are skillful thinking that leads to calming of the mind. And we can now reflect that all these hairs are impermanent. They go through birth, aging, sickness, and passing away. And we think of the hairs growing and falling, many, many cycles. The more the merrier. So we don't have to over-imagine. Just visualize hairs growing and falling. You don't have to think of the barber or the hair salon, what brand of shampoo you're using. All these are unnecessary. And we can reflect and ask ourselves, are these hairs truly self? Can we tell the hairs not to go through birth and death? And next we can visualize the nails, fingernails and toenails. May they be well and happy. And all these nails go through birth, aging, sickness, and passing away. And we think of the nails growing and falling, many, many cycles. So the whole idea of observing impermanence is not to get stuck to any of the mental factors. So the imagery of the nails is a subtle form. There's also feeling, where they find it pleasant, unpleasant, neutral. And there's also this perception or memory. Think of a name, think of ideas, to label that object. So when you cling to it for more than 2 seconds, the feeling, it will snowball into various kinds of dramas. So these are actually stray thoughts. So as long as we stick to impermanence of the birth and death cycle of the nails, and we treat all other emotions, all feelings as impermanent, as passerby, and that will be okay. Don't attach or hold on to any nice sensations. So this image we conjure is 5 in 1, 5 aggregates. So I talk about until perception, the third aggregate, and then there's also mental formation. Every time you conjure a new frame, a new image, that is mental formation. And the last one is consciousness, and that is the awareness, also the emotion. We call it a state of mind, or the various levels of consciousness. Some people have detachment and maybe have a lighter kind of mind or a heightened state of mind. So that too is also impermanent. Consciousness is impermanent. And maybe some people have, call it hindrances, and the mind gets dull or drowsy. So the consciousness also becomes different. So regardless of whatever situation, we stick with this mindfulness of impermanence. Okay, then we can ask ourselves, are these nails or the mental factors associated with it, are they truly self? Can we tell them not to go through birth and death? And the next part of the body, we are going to visualize the teeth inside our oral cavity. We wish all the teeth well and happy, all the upper rows of teeth well and happy, and all the lower rows of teeth well and happy. And all these teeth go through birth, aging, sickness, and passing away. So you can think of the bone cells of the teeth growing and falling, many, many cycles. And we can ask ourselves, are these teeth or the mental factors associated with it, are they truly self? Can we tell the teeth not to go through birth and death? Okay, and next we can think of the skin. We wish all the skin well and happy from head to toe. Entire skin that wraps around the whole body, may they be well and happy. So again, the skin is quite a large area. So every time we think of a new patch of skin, we wish it well and happy. Okay, and we are now going to introduce impermanence. So all this skin are subject to birth, aging, sickness, and passing away. and all the skin go through many rounds of birth and death, growing and falling, many cycles. And then we can ask ourselves, are the skin truly self? Can we tell the skin not to go through birth and death? Okay, and the next phase of meditation, we are going to do the 4 sublime states. So for this particular exercise, there's no need to deliberately visualize. So this one is more on feeling the sensations. So now we are going to wish all beings in front well and happy. And so just a general attention to the front. No need to push your mind, and whatever sensation that you can pick up, you just wish it well and happy. And we come back to ourselves, and we wish all beings behind well and happy. And we come back to ourselves. And we wish all beings on the left well and happy. And we come back to ourselves. And we wish all beings on the right well and happy. And we come back to ourselves. And now we wish all beings above well and happy. And we come back to ourselves. And we wish all beings below well and happy. And we come back to ourselves. And this time round, we wish the entire body well and happy, suffuse the entire body with loving kindness. So basically, we wish all the sensations in the body well and happy. Whatever sensation appear, we can just wish it well and happy. So as a general guide, what to look out for. These sensations are basically the four elements. So we are mindful of the four elements. The earth, fire, wind, and water. Earth represents any hard and soft sensations. Fire is warm and cold sensations. Wind is any fast and slow movements. And water, moist or dry. So there is no need to deliberately control or generate those sensations. We let it appear naturally. So whenever a new sensation arises, we wish it well and happy. New sensation arises, well and happy. No clinging, no pushing away. This time we are using real-time observation. No need to superimpose any past impressions. Sometimes there might be a misunderstanding that silent mind means no thinking, or a calm mind requires no thinking. So actually, to really follow the Eightfold Path, you need actually lots of right thinking, right thoughts, right effort, to calm down the mind. So that is called training or cultivation. If calming the mind is as easy as no thinking, I think that would be what we do before we sleep. We attempt to don't do anything, then the mind will calm down, but they're still thinking, even though they're sleeping. And this part of the six senses, eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind. And the mind will have this mind or consciousness activating, averting all the time to the various senses. Okay, and if you find that you are quite calm, through this loving kindness, and you take note this is a restricted form of loving kindness within the confines of the body, and now we are trying to cultivate a boundless kind of loving kindness. So now we are going to wish all beings in all directions, above, below, and all across, may they be well and happy. So again, no need to deliberately visualize. We have no idea how all the unseen beings look like. We have no idea all the species of insects, how they look like. So as long as we extend the mind, it will encompass all those sentient beings. And no need to push your attention, let it extend naturally by itself. However far it wishes to extend, then that will be your universe. And within that field of attention, we do the same thing. We observe all the sensations. Any sensation arise, we wish it well and happy. Doesn't matter near or far, large or small area. Any sensation arise, well and happy. The more loving kindness we generate, the calmer the mind should get. And no matter how calm, how peaceful, how pleasant the experience, we just treat it as a byproduct. Emphasis is always on generating this right thought of loving kindness. Everything is cause and effect. So I plant the cause, and the effect will be, the calming of the mind. It's a bit like, let's say, starting a fire. You light the firewood, and there's fire. So in order to maintain the fire, we keep putting in more wood to maintain the fire. So if a person just stays with the pleasant emotion, calm, peaceful emotion, and forget to generate the right thought, it's like just staying with the fire and not putting in the wood. Eventually, the fire will die down. Or eventually the calmness or the samadhi from this loving kindness will dissipate. Okay, and next we add some insight or some wisdom into the contemplation, and we are going to reflect that all the sentient beings, all formations, all sensations go through this birth and death, always arise and pass away every moment. So we observe and also mentally keep reflecting on this arising and passing. So similarly, always emphasize on the cause, which is mindful of the impermanence of all phenomenon, and whatever emotion or experience, that is just a byproduct. Okay, so this is using loving kindness to cultivate both concentration and insight. And of course, in your free time, you can do as long as you want at any phase. And now we are moving to the second sublime state, which is compassion. So for compassion, we wish all beings, may they be free from suffering. So no need to over-imagine any story. So this suffering is about clinging to the sensations. All sensations appear, when we cling to them, they are subject to suffering. So when a new sensation arises, we wish it may be free from suffering. And may all beings be free from suffering. Because every time we think of a scenario of a certain person who will require help, and the mind will end up worrying, create lots of case scenarios, lots of stories and episodes, and it might end up draining the mind. And eventually it will become very depressing or having this burnout. So now we're learning to recharge the mind, and every time we apply a right thought, we are cutting off the unnecessary story, unnecessary speculations. And if you're doing it correctly, the mind should calm down. And if it's concentrative kind of compassion, it should feel some joy or happiness there. It's not a total kind of sorrow, sad kind of emotion. So there's this joy and happiness that occur in this compassion. Okay, and next we add some insight or some wisdom into the contemplation, and we are going to reflect that how to truly overcome this suffering, that is to practice detachment. So we need to observe impermanence and all sensations, all dharmas, all beings, and they go through this arising and passing all the time, every moment. The more we practice detachment, you will find a very similar emotional evolution kind of process, that the emotion starts to get more and more neutral or more bland, that pleasant kind of feeling or emotion starts to dissipate. And it's very normal as long as you keep being mindful of impermanence. So all the meditation objects will go through this same process as long as there's insight involved. Okay, so this is using compassion to cultivate both concentration and insight. So next we move on to the third sublime state, which is appreciative joy. And now we are going to wish all beings, may they not be separated from what they have achieved. So basically, all beings, including ourselves, we will gain new experience every time we detect a new sensation. So new sensation, we gain something, so we can rejoice. Every moment, new sensation, rejoice. New sensation arise, rejoice. So the more we rejoice, the calmer the mind should get. And this is using appreciative joy to cultivate concentration. And next we add some insight into the practice. So we are going to reflect, and all beings will eventually be separated from what is dear and appealing to ourselves. So we can just observe the arising and passing of all sensations, all experiences. They're all impermanent. Okay, and that would be using appreciative joy to cultivate both concentration and insight. And the last sublime state will be equanimity. So along the way, throughout the meditation, we may have experienced some equanimity here and there through insight, but now we are doing the ground-up approach, starting with the samatha or the concentration phase. So we are going to reflect using karma. So all beings are the owners of their karma, heir to their karma, whatever good and bad that we do, we shall be the recipient. So again, no need to over-imagine or speculate, oh, in the past I've done this or that, or even in the past life I've done this or that, so I'm going to face these certain consequences. So we're just going to observe the here and now, moment to moment sensations, any pleasant feeling that arise, that is good karma's ripening, and any unpleasant feeling that arise, that is bad karma's ripening, and any neutral feeling that arise, that is neutral karma's ripening. So in short, every experience, and that is karma's ripening. Okay, and if your mind has calmed down, and if you do it correctly, you should experience this emotion called equanimity. No joy, no happiness, neutral, but yet uplifting, refreshing. So that is the concentrative kind of equanimity. And next we are going to add some insight into the practice, and we are going to reflect how to overcome all these karmas. So any pleasant, unpleasant, neutral feeling, they all arise and pass away. So you keep observing all these feelings as impermanent. All karmas are actually karmic formations. They are part of the fourth aggregate. So they keep changing all the time, very volatile. Clinging on to them is will be lots of suffering. Okay, and before we conclude the session, same general reminder from the Karaniya Metta Sutta that as long as we maintain this boundless, sublime state, be it standing, sitting, walking, or lying down, in all activities, we can maintain this, then this is the highest conduct. And with that in mind, we can gently open our eyes and continue this mindfulness. Right, anyone has any problems with the sitting earlier? No issues, all smooth riding, smooth sailing? Okay, then we can end the session with the dedication chant. Okay, dedicating merits. Akasata ca Bhumata Devanaga Mahirika Punyang tang anumoditva Chirang rakantu loka sasanang Etavata ca amhihi Sabadang punya sabadang Sabbe deva sabbe bhuta Sabbe sada anumodantu Sabba sabbati siddhya. Transference of merits to departed. Idang me nyatinang hotu, sukita hontu nyadayo. Idang me nyatinang hotu, sukita hontu nyadayo. Idang me nyatinang hotu, sukita hontu nyadayo. An aspiration. Imina punya kamena, mame bala samagamo. Satang samagamo hotu yavani bana patiya. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, all right. So that's the end of the session. Any announcements from Terence? No, okay, then good night.
Okay, see you all next week.
Okay, see you all next week.
Bye.
See you
Okay,
next week.
good night.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante. Thank you,
No
everyone. Good
problem.
night.
Good night.
Night.